Hey, welcome to our demo of the Seamark ZM-R7850 BGA Rework station. This BGA station uses compressed air and also can be connected for nitrogen on the upper air. Show you some features of this machine. It's on a cabinet on base with wheels, so you can move it around with wheels. This machine features industrial computer control. So instead of having a touch screen and a PLC, this one actually runs off of a regular computer. The computer allows you to save all the profiles that you want and do more in-depth profile analyzing. The machine's got a little storage drawer here where you can put all your stuff. And then the keyboard and the mouse come out on this drawer. So we're going to go through some of the commands on the machine software. This is the main screen. And when we first log in, we're going to go to admin. And we're going to put our password in, which is default password is 3/8. We're logged in. You have a bunch of tabs on the top of here. These are your system perimeters, and these ones are mainly set at the factory or they're set by us here at the shop before we ship the machines out. And so we normally don't want you to touch these ones. When we're doing training, we'll explain some to you and what we can modify. But normally this is for only experienced people to make changes. The heating perimeters, this is where we set up our profiles. And it comes here, you can set up to 8, up to 10 zones. You have upper temperature, the heating time, we hold it when it gets to that temperature. The rate, factory rates are 3 degrees per second. We have our lower temperature, our lower heater, the heating times, and the rates. Normally we use 1 degree per second, but we leave these factory profiles in there just for reference so you have them. Down here we can set our infrared temperature, so I'll just back up with it. This is our upper temperature. The first one is our upper temperature here, the first row. Now that applies to our upper heater. The upper heaters have magnetic nozzles, and they have various size pickup tubes that unscrew and screw back in. So you can get different size pickup tubes for small components up to large components. You get various nozzle sizes. So that's our upper heater. And this is our lower spot heater. Also has magnetic nozzles. And then these are our area heaters for preheating the boards. So what we would do is we would go here, we click, do we want to use nitrogen or not? We can turn nitrogen on or off if we don't want to use nitrogen. We can set our area heater temperatures here. When I'm not using them, I'll just set them to about 40 degrees, which is close to room temperature. We have our BGA size. So if we're going to do a 50 millimeter square BGA, if it's 50 millimeters square, we'll put in 50. If it's rectangular BGA, let's say it's 50 by 20, I'm going to go 50, comma 20 for a rectangular type of component. Over here, this is our, they call this BGA correction height. That's the height the BGA sets at prior to placement. And our PCB base height is the height of the pickup tube on the head to the board that you're working on. So we'll set those two heights for whatever board or component we're working on. Our timeout setting, that's how long we want it to run our profile for. And so normally we're just going to do a default of about 700 for a timeout. And then our alarm temperature, basically if we're running a profile, we can set down how high we want it to go. So if I'm running a profile that goes to 290, I don't want it to go over 290. I can set my alarm temperature as a safety to 300. And then if for some reason it doesn't malfunction, it would abort at 300. Once you save your profile, all you do is press load. And you would save it as your profile name. This particular profile right now is our DDR. Let's go back and find our DDR profile. We're going to save it. And that's loaded now. For testing purposes, we're just going to go to a short profile, and I'm going to use what I call a no heat test. It's just a short profile, doesn't use any heat. We're just going to show you the functions of the machine. So I select my no heat test. I'm going to open it. It should be loaded. Well, it's loading now. Okay. So our no heat test profile, we have the infrared temperature set at 50. Our BGA size is 42.5. Our height is 180, or 11, and our depth of the board is 180. We're not really using any heat or time on this, so I just have 200, 300 set for those times. Gonna close it. And what we'll do is we're gonna put our board here, so you can put your board in and hold it by the jaws here, the guides. Or there's also hardware you can put in to hold the circuit boards by tooling holes. And then these are supports. If we want to support larger boards up to keep them from sagging, you have support board supports. This particular machine, it'll hold boards up to 25-inch wide. We could modify them to go to about 30-inch wide if you need to. Let's take a look around the machine. Our air regulators here. This machine has a built-in air filtration system. So what it does is that when the machine's running, it pulls any fumes through here. This is the inlet, and then it has a filtration system in the back, and it filters out the air to reduce any fumes from the fluxes. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you some of the functions here. We have our board in place. We're using this 42mm component. We want to turn our lights on. We can select illumination here. This will turn our external lights on. There's a red laser that's on, and that's when we're first putting the board and the component in. The laser just allows us to get an estimation of the centering. Once everything's in, we can turn our illumination off, and we can decide what we want to do. We have weld, disassemble, or mount. So what weld is, that's basically if we just want to run a reflow profile. We're not going to install the BGA, or we're not going to remove the BGA. We just want to run it and heat it up maybe a second time if we need to do a second reflow on it. Disassemble is basically we're going to remove the BGA component, and mount is going to be the fully automatic command where it's going to pick up the BGA, we're going to line it up to the board, place it, and then run the heat cycle. So let's start with the weld command. With the weld, we're just going to press weld. The vision system is going to come out, and then it's going to show us in the screen here. We can basically get our component set in the nozzle. The nozzle is blue, the blue outline, and the circuit board and component are gold. We have lighting adjust here, so we're going to adjust the top and the bottom lights to how we want them. So I can turn the light down, or I can turn the light up for the top, and same thing for the bottom. Basically, we just want to center our component inside the nozzle. We have micrometer adjuster for left, right, forward, and backward. So forward, backward here. And then we can zoom in and zoom out. So what happens once you select your command, this little keypad will come up, and we can move the head up and down. We can zoom in, zoom out, and then we can also rotate the component clockwise or counterclockwise. But for right now, I'll just sort of do a zoom in just for a demo. So we're going to zoom in. Zoom out. So basically our component center, let's pick up. So it says confirm that your location is confirmed. So we got our component set in a nozzle. We're going to confirm that. And then what's it's going to do, it's going to go down and run the heat profile that we have set for this machine. So it's going to go down, it'll touch the component, and then it'll rebound. We have the machine set to rebound 2 millimeters. You can see a bottom heating nozzle down here, top heating nozzle here, and then it's just going to run our profile. Some indicator lights over here come on to let us know which heaters are running. Like I said, right now we're just running very low temperatures. We're going to bring it up, I think, to 50. And then it's going to wait 20 seconds and reset. So you see our heating lights going here. If you want to monitor different parts of the boards or component, you have 7 K-type thermocouple inputs for external temperature monitoring. So it's just running the 8 profile. At the end of the profile, it'll reset and go into a cool down mode. As it cools down, you have a cage fan here that cools down across the whole board, and then the top and the bottom heaters will go into a cool down mode. Then when it's cooled down, it just turns off. The next sequence is disassemble or remove. Just click on the disassemble. Again, it's going to come out. The vision system is going to come out. Lights are going to go on. We're going to make sure that our component is centered in the screen. We'll go back to the commands, confirm our location. It's going to go down. Again, it'll go down, touch the component, do a rebound. It's going to run our heat profile. Then we can watch here. This is our temperature, top, bottom, infrared. We don't have any thermocouples plugged in now, but these are our 5 thermocouple inputs set there. And if we scroll down here, we can see we have 7 total thermocouples. Right now, we're just waiting this to reach 50 degrees, and I got it set to go to 50 and hold it for 20 seconds on the top and the bottom. Once it reaches the end of the cycle, it's going to remove the component. You see it's picking up the component. What it's going to do is going to place the component in the upper nest. And this machine will place components up to 90 millimeters. Okay, so that's your removal sequence. It's going to tell you, did you take the BGA from the nest? So I'm going to take the BGA and put it out here and click yes, I removed the BGA, and it's going to go back to home position. The last sequence we have is a mount, so we're going to press mount right here. Again, the vision system is going to come out. Down here in the instructions, it's going to say where you put the BGA into the upper nest. So I'll just show you here. It's like waiting to put BGA. I place my BGA in the upper nest. I'll click OK. We place the BGA. Now it's going to pick it up. There we go. And so what happens is it brings our BGA into the vision system here. And what we can do is we can move this. I'll zoom in a bit. I'm using the chronometer to move this, but we can see our PCB pads are gold. Our BGA balls are blue. What we want to do is we want to make sure this is straight up and down, if it's vertical. If it's not, we can use our rotation commands, clockwise and counterclockwise here, to move it a bit. I just had to turn it a little bit, and now it's straight up and down. Make sure that our corners are aligned. Once everything's aligned, we'll move this into place. So I'm just going to move the pads on center with the ball. It's a little bit hard to see when they're small, so what we'll do is we'll zoom in more. And then once they're zoomed in, we can move our pads over. Turn the light up a little bit on the circuit board. Now we can see our pads very clearly and our solder balls very clearly here. And now we'll just bring those on center. Can you see that? solder balls on the center of the pad. So we've confirmed that we're aligned. What we're going to do here, we're going to go press our location confirmation. Turn on our illumination, and then we'll watch it place. Once it places, it's going to run the heat profile to solder the chip to the board.